What's going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. We are here to look at the 4 new augments. So we've got augments for Zaku, Lavos, Styanax, and Gyre. Yeah, so the 4 that I've got listed up top here is favorites. Now, there is an interesting quirk about each one of these. What's going to be good? What's going to be bad? Well, let's just jump right into Zaku. So, I kind of had to fiddle fart around with this one because I was trying to make the best of it. And truth be told, I didn't want to do a different subsume coupled with, because like Vitality is not really necessary on a Briefer Spite and Aegis. So, like, you could do Umbral Intensify instead, which is perfectly fine. Just to buff yourself up some more ability strength, and really kind of maximize the situation. But the only way that I really find that this is really going to be like good is going to be because obviously you see I've got Bright Bonnet on here because I have no energy mods on here. I've got an Equilibrium mod, plus I've got an Equilibrium shard, so energy is really not a big problem with this build. And yeah, so basically the way this thing works is it basically creates a rift. And then anything with applied void damage. And that's kind of the kick, is applied void damage. So, not the void damage from your stolen guns. You would think that them applying void damage by shooting people would count, but it don't. So basically, you must have Zada's Whisper to apply said void damage, or, use your amp. And then basically it just kind of double dips the void damage. Now, is this really a necessary thing? If you're doing something that regards like, some sort of high corrosive build, let me think, what's a good high corrosive subsume? Hydroids. What the hell is that fucking... I'm having a brain fart here, man. Post-surgery crap is fun. Tempest Barrage. So if you were using like Tempest Barrage, okay, and you turn around and instead of Bright Bonnet and you just live and die by the fact of using an Equilibrium shard, an Equilibrium mod, and then probably, I don't know, change Aegis out for Energize maybe. Yeah, you could armor strip the shit out of people with this particular setup. Now, that's going to leave you with... I'm running a different secondary than I showed in the Zaku build, and this was just throughout the testing. This is the best possible way I found to spread the cooties was the Epitaph. Because it's just got such a large AoE area that you can just prime a bunch of void damage on people. Well, I mean, the general outcome of Zaku is basically just kind of busted anyway, so this particular augment kind of falls into the realm of, do I need it? Like here, we'll just do the regular corrupted battle group. It doesn't really matter. So, alright, so we're gonna just, steal their guns. We're gonna do Zada's Whisper. We're gonna do this. Let's see, so like, Bright Bonnet, specifically, I'm gonna do this. So we create the rift. I mean, like, just fucking them up. Like, they're slowed to hell. And especially like something like, the Blast Toxin Venmore, it's just gonna pretty much mop up whatever's fucking left anyway. But I mean, you guys saw my goofy pillage setup, like this is... Or not the, yeah, the goofy pillage setup that I subsumed over the Lost on. Like, I mean, is this better? It's good. Like, it's not bad. I understand the premise behind it. Basically, just reinforcing the double dipping of, slowing enemies down and double dipping the damage and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I'm not mad at that. Not in any way. But, I mean, is there other ways to go about the build? Yeah, I mean, probably. It's like the moment I started recording, my first thought was, well, armor is still kind of a thing with void damage. So yeah, like if you were doing like Tempest Barrage instead of where I have Bright Bonnet, and then just kind of play around with the arcanes and such to really kind of keep up with energy, because I mean, at least it's a straight 100% build instead of like a 45% efficiency build like usual, then, you know, here we are. I don't mind. Throat is scratchy. Overall, not a bad arcane, but not really anything great. Lavos. Brother. So, this is about the only way that I've found to make this particular mod feel good. This specifically is a much higher lockdown area type of augment. Okay, so basically you throw the transmutation probe out and then it comes back to you. Where the fuck up is that if the little probe followed you afterward, this augment would be OP as fuck. Okay. But because it just comes back to wherever you cast it from and just parks its ass, if there's no enemies, you're not getting any benefit from it. Now, what I mean by that is defenses, mobile defenses, you know, things like that. This is where this thing just lives and dies, right? So we're going to cast this, and then we're going to cast this, and this shit's going to come back and watch the cooldown. Like, skadoo, 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 there it goes, it's gone. You know, so we got 2 casts out of 1 on that, and that's all fine and dandy. You know, so we keep our Valence Formation because that's just kind of a staple to the Lavos build at this point. Makes Lavos really fucking good. But the stupid probe, literally, here, look, see? It just goes way the fuck over there, and then it's like, wait a second. Herein lies the problem. It's still over there. If this thing was like, the temporal artillery for Protea, and this fucking probe followed us and helped us continually reduce the cooldowns until its timer ran out, brother, this would be a really good augment. The way it's set up right now, it's good for static gameplay, not very much for mobile, you know, like mobility, unless you're just like, you know, using it to cover behind you and, you know, on a survival or something, and, you know, chilling out your cooldowns that way. It's okay. So we have Stynex. Now this one I think is probably the best, and yeah, I got a Tenant Ferox on here of all fucking things. This one I feel like is the best of the 4 anyway. This was just a random ass test build that I honestly just threw the augment on. Okay, so it's Theros Lethality. So anybody that you strike with Theros Strike, you get an increased critical damage by 100%. Okay, on enemies that you hit. Critical damage is bonus by spear guns, just because that's kind of like Steinex's shtick, you know, just like he's the spear gun Spartan frame, so it is what it is. Hence why we're using, you know, the Ferox. And with just enough investment to just get an armor strip, it's pretty fucking easy to see who in the fuck you've inflicted, you know, Theros Strike on, because there quite obviously is a limitation. Excuse me. Excuse me. Well, hell. There used to be an enemy count on that. Either way, let's show it. It's basically groups of people, right? Now, this is where my usual ensnare bullshit comes in really fucking handy. Because I can just sit here and do this nonsense. Group them all together and they fucking die. Yeah, critical damage, really, it's a thing for spear guns. This is very good. This one is very, very, very good. Now, the kicker is like, no, inevitably somebody's going to be like, hey, can it just take away Intrepid Stand? No, and never. This is like a an absolute fucking staple to Stynex. Don't ever take it off. Just saying. I know, nobody's going to ask me that. That's like the ultimate rhetorical question. Finally, we have Gyre. Now, Gyre's is... It seems like it's a damage dealing, you know, augment. So basically, reverse rotor swell. If somebody shoots at you, you rebound damage to them. Okay, so we're just going to go over here to rotor swell and just show it. So 75% damage redirection, and at 273% ability strength, it's only 27% status. That is fucking pathetic. Okay. If I have 273% ability strength, I have the expectation that that status chance is going to be pretty goddamn high. That's a pretty good amount of ability strength to throw at a frame. Anything 250 plus is decent. So the status chance is really kind of dog shit. Now, the damage redirection, that's fine. So you would think that this would be a damage dealing effect by basically somebody shooting at you and you just repelling true electric damage back at the enemy. And honestly, throughout the testing, I have just come to realize that it's really kind of a survivability function because electricity staggers enemies. Now, again, this is identical to my normal pillage build. And the truth of it is that, like, it's all right. You know, it's okay. This is better. It's the exact same fucking build minus this. Conductive sphere, basically just applying more fucking damage with a higher status effect as long as you're shooting through the first ability. In comparison to rebounding fucking, you know, damage. Like, that to me is gold. Because, I don't know. To me, I think conductive sphere is just a better option. Overall, are the augments good? Zaku's is interesting. I think with the right subsume, the right shards, the right arcanes, I think Zaku's could really have some stank on it. The truth is just that much insanity. I mean, that is just not so much my playstyle. I don't want to sit there and, like, let's just say I'm right and you throw corrosive shards in here, and then what is the other emerald one? Damage on enemies that have been afflicted by corrosive status, I believe is what it is. So like if you put like 3 or 4 emerald shards on this motherfucker, that could be a thing. You know, and then Tempest Barrage to basically build up stacks to, if not armor strip, at least fucking booger up the shit out of somebody's armor so the guns can really get to work. And then basically just priming with the epitaph. Yeah, I could see it doing some pretty hefty, you know, functional damage. But I mean, there's a lot of setup for that when you know, there's other builds that just work better. Lavos, if you're worried about using Lavos for like defenses and mobile defense, static shit, right? You know, so if you're doing that, it's perfectly fine. Aside from that, I think the augment is lacking the fact of the probe basically coming back to you and following you. If they would have done that, this augment would have been very good. Because they didn't do that, I don't think it's very good at all. Styanex, like I said, I think is the best of the bunch. Just gives you just absolute menacing damage output, which is fine. And then Gyres, there's just, you know, again, it files just like Zaku. There's just better ways to build without using that mod slot. So that's just my opinion. Take it for what it is. So folks, I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, all right?